This is where we hold them! This is where we fight!
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Yo, first off, I know you talked about it last week.
Get the plugs in, baby.
Dude, Sweep the Rack shirts are live on our Etsy store. I got rosin bags. I got Sweep the Rack logo shirts. I have a Patch Pirate logo. I'm gonna
Merch.
I'm gonna start designing a little bit more shirts. Give us some more variety. A couple of bigger sizes. I need to get some double XL and
Bob, appreciate that, Hoss. Maybe I'll see you this weekend at one of the great TAC events. Father's Day is Sunday, so I definitely won't be going Sunday. I'll be spending the time with my family, but perhaps Saturday for
Mike,
the friction marathon.
Don't ruin my shirt plug here, Mike.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we have some double XL, triple XL shirts coming. I have to just put those together. We'll maybe throw some of the ideas we had. Some people had some good ideas, like "What up, homie?" Some other kind of just knit shirts for the show. So yeah,
I already told you I need the
I know
Reddit
the
post on the shirt.
Post.
Okay.
I'll work on it this weekend.
Pain. What was I forget the exact phrasing, but it was something like embarrassment, pain, and misery, or something like that. I need that.
Bowling league, pain, misery, and torture or something. Anyway,
that was so sick. Sick. All right. You weren't here last week.
I wasn't.
You weren't here last week, so we called in the big guns. We hit up our boy. Actually, if you want to know the true story, we hit up basically everyone we know to see who wanted to come on the show. No one was available, so in a last-ditch effort to entertain the people, we hit up our guy, and he was nice enough to come on. It had been a while since he had been on. We had some fun with it. Him and I got to do some wire conversation, which we always love. So, yeah, it was fun to have Bill on. My biggest takeaway from my conversation with him last week, and I don't know if anyone caught this. I should have paused the show when he said this and made sure that everybody heard it. But he said that he looked at me like I threw it like David Ozio, and I just wanted to cry, bro.
He said he told you throw it like David Ozio.
He said he didn't say I throw it like David Ozio now.
I don't see that.
He said at one time. At one time, he looked at me as if I threw like David Ozio, and I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense, So,
there you go.
Man, that lit a fire under me. Let me tell you, that lit a fire under me.
Yeah.
I said, man, I need to get back to that. I need to get back to that for sure. So, no league review this week. I didn't bowl this week.
Darn it.
Go ahead.
I was in Vegas, so I mean, I was.
I thought you were going to give me a hard time for not showing up for league.
Well,
it seems like you're hating on me on Twitter.
Because I know you don't. Because I know you don't want to bowl, and you say
yes,
you do, but I know you don't.
Yes, I do. Listen, you're 100% wrong about it. You're more wrong about that than the clown was about anything on his podcast. But I want to bowl, bro. I'm bowling the league.
Maybe it's because I would want to bowl.
Responded to you on Twitter. I might not miss another week the whole entire summer. Last night my daughter had a chorus performance. I ain't gonna miss my daughter's chorus performance for league.
I hear you.
But here's
especially a 6-man league on.
I know.
But that ends at 11 o'clock at night.
Listen, not only was it the chorus concert last night, but it was also the last night I would have had to bowl with work the next day. So it's all good. We're in the clear now, bro. We're in the clear. We're done on Wednesday, and I got league on Wednesday. So sleeping in on Thursday. We're good. We're straight. So I'll be there. I'll be there the rest of the time. Here's the unfortunate thing about bowling these sport leagues and these singles sport leagues. And leagues in general, this is one of the things I like about the format that we did on the Tuesday night thing that I ran last year. You got to get a sub. And it's impossible to get a sub.
Yeah, nobody wants to bowl.
No one wants to bowl on this stuff. It's 6 people on a pair. It's the summer. No one wants to bowl, right?
So take the blinds, move on.
No. I was fortunate enough to be able to get somebody to bowl for me who is already there. They're usually already there hanging out, watching some people bowl.
Wait. There's always that one guy hanging around waiting for some free sub bowling, man.
It's not like that.
There's always one.
No, be 100%. It's a girlfriend of a bowler in the league who also bowls herself.
Oh, so she's there. She's got her stuff with her.
Yes. Actually, she's practicing a little bit after at times.
Sure.
So I told her, go ahead, don't worry about it. Jump in.
The professional sub, it's always there. There's always one guy.
I didn't check anything. I don't even check the standings in this league, so I don't really care. But I woke up to a text this morning from her boyfriend. And he said, she said she's sorry. So,
yeah, that didn't go well. You better off taking the blind.
No, okay. So, the week before, you weren't here. I almost swept. I won 24 out of 25 points, and I vaulted up the standings. So I put her in a tough position because you bowl against the people all around you in the standings. So this past Wednesday, I was going to be bowling with all the people who had bowled good on this pattern the week before. So, she had a tough task ahead of her. And, if you're one of the people that bowls in that league that listens to this podcast, when you see me drop down in the standings this week, don't think that I ain't coming back for you, okay? Because I will be back next week.
Man, he takes 24 to 25 now. He's getting a little bit cocky here.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm just playing. So no league report. But I'm maybe bowling Greg Tax, who again was one of our co-hosts last week. Shout out to Greg, thanks for that. He's always an interesting cat to involve in a bowling conversation. I'll give him that. I might bowl his event on Saturday. He's having an event, back-to-back events, Saturday and Sunday this weekend. Saturday is the Friction Marathon, which is like an ultra short pattern, and Sunday is the Frictionless Marathon. Now, originally, when the schedule came out, here was my thought, Rob. Tell me what you think about this. It's in Turnersville, New Jersey, okay, which is like a little bit south of Philly. All right, it's about a half hour south of Philly. So I was thinking, bowl Saturday, shoot to AC Saturday night, do the night in AC, hang, dinner, gamble, and then boom, get up Sunday and go back and bowl the next one Sunday.
Man, that sounds like Sunday you're gonna be bowling on fumes, but sounds good to me, man. I mean, go for it. I don't know.
Nah, I can't do it. Sunday's Father's Day. I realized that when I took a look at the.
So what better way to spend Father's Day to bowl, man?
No. I spent Father's Day with the fam, bro.
No, man. Hey, tell the fam I want to spend my Father's Day bowling. And what are they gonna do? They can't say no.
Yeah, Tim, hit me up. I think, did you email me? I'm not sure. You DM me, but if I forget, if you didn't hit me up, Tim saying he's coming out to Jersey July 8th. I will be around then. Somebody else emailed me and said they were coming out on July 1st or 2nd or something like that weekend. Yeah, and I'm not going to be around that weekend. I'm going to be up the mountains at Bill's house for July 4th. Up at his development, they have a really nice July 4th weekend thing that we went up for last year, so we're going up again this year.
Make sure
I
you
won't.
run
I won't
over
park
his,
on the grass.
yeah, make sure you run over his freshly cut grass.
No,
like
I
I
won't
did.
park on the grass. I'll park in the driveway where I'm supposed
Cool.
to park. I won't. I won't
All right.
break anything and hit anything. I actually make things. I leave things nicer than I left them. I don't destroy them like some other people. But
Yo, man,
nonetheless,
I admitted it. I took responsibility for it. I didn't just do it and leave.
you were in Vegas.
I
We didn't
was in
see
Vegas.
much. We didn't see much. Let's see. We saw some. We saw some action at the pool the first day.
Mhm.
We saw some action at the Circa Sportsbook
Ooh,
pool, which looked
that
really
place is
cool. I
sick.
wish you would have sent out more stories from there. That place looked pretty cool. I saw your boy in a wheelchair. What
Oh,
happened?
Oh, dude, he passed out in Aria, like right literally in the hotel lobby. Like he was on the floor, like passed out, and
Okay.
security came over. I had his room key, so they called me, and I'm keep in mind bombed, right?
Mm.
I walk over and security gives me a sobriety test, and I'm like, "What are you doing?" And then he wakes up and he's in the wheelchair, and they wheelchaired him up to the room, and I was taking video, and they were cursing at me, and
Yeah, I saw.
because I was taking the video and they didn't want me taking the video. I'm like, I ain't missing this shit from them. So I'm taking videos, and it was such a train wreck. It was hilarious.
I gotta say, it's not the first time I've seen somebody.
I know who you're
get
talking
carted
about.
Get
I know
carted
who
out
you're
of
talking
a-
about.
of a
An old guest,
casino.
an old show guest got carted out of a casino once. You know, go back to season 1 episode. I think
And
it's
he's not-
10.
He's not, and he's not even the only one. He's not even the only one.
there's a few old guests that we've had.
Man.
Yeah. So,
All right, so you had a good time in Vegas.
I did.
You went to see Jerry Seinfeld. I saw
I
that.
did.
That was dope.
Bucket list for me. Because
awesome.
that's anybody knows me knows I am the biggest Seinfeld fan. Like when it comes the show, right? His show, and I always wanted to go see stand up, and it happened to work out where when I was there the weekend he was playing at Caesars, which is rare. He only plays like here and there. He plays in New York City every once in a while. Anyway, he did a little bit on bowling, Mike, and I was sitting there like, oh man, some content for the show. And so Seinfeld went into bowling a little bit, and he talked about how he's a family man now, and he's got 3 kids, and he took them bowling. And he goes, what happened when I was a kid? You know, everything we earned, right? Like, you know, you had to do, nothing came easy, right? I go to the bowling alley, and now they have these things coming out of the gutter that prevent the bowling balls from going in the gutter. And he's like, I don't even know, it's like bumpers or something. He's like, what kind of shit is this? He's like, these kids are getting pins every shot. He's like, when I was a kid, I threw the ball in the gutter, I wasn't getting nothing, I was getting 0. He's like, man, bowling is like, was it turning the easy? Like, and I'm just sitting there going, oh, you have no idea. I'm like yelling. And he's like, this shit's so easy. Where's Mike? Where's Mike to put Seinfeld in? You know,
I would have had to stop the whole show.
So you would have walked on stage.
I would have stood up, walked
Grabbed
on
his
stage, and been like, "Jerry, you have no idea, son. Let me break this down for you. Let me break this down for you."
He started going to bowling, and I'm laughing about it. And my friends are all looking at me because they know, obviously, like I'm a bowler and I run the show and whatever. And then he started to talk about how his friends always want to take him golfing. And his friends were always talking about how golf is like the hardest, most challenging sport there is. And, you know, everybody should want to do it because it's so challenging and it's so hard. And I'm thinking to myself, man, like, so why? And why is bowling, if bowling was the most hardest thing ever and most challenging thing ever, why is everybody going to quit bowling? But if golf is the most challenging sport, then everybody wants to do it because it's so challenging. But the minute you put out something challenging in bowling, the first thing everybody says is, oh, we can't do that because everybody's going to quit. Right? Isn't that the first thing you think about? And I know we're going to get into a good transition about the Twitter conversation that you had with, that we not got into it, but Belmo kind of stirred the pot a little bit, and he knew what he was doing, Belmo. He knows what he's doing.
He's trolling. He's trolling.
100%. Oh, he 100% knows what he's doing.
That's why I wrote him back. Said,
yeah,
but it got me time with the fam, son.
But it got me thinking, like, this kind of translates to what, like, Seinfeld and his friends were saying about going golfing and how it's so challenging and you will really want to do it. But the minute you bring up something like, well, why don't we make bowling league that challenging? And then the minute you say that, everybody gets involved. Wriggles gets involved. My brother, of course, gets involved. And it's like, oh well, everybody would quit and
pile on.
But I mean, look, they're not wrong, right? And I want to transition
they're
this
not
conversation.
wrong at all.
They're not wrong. So that's the thing is like, but my question, and I know we've talked about this a million times on the show, but
yeah, but you know what? It's an important topic, and that's why it keeps coming up. That's why the things that I say relating to this topic get a response.
Yeah. Hey, Dan Dalton, I want to read a comment real quick. He received his Worst of the Week Rosenberg yesterday. Holding it yesterday, I can feel the power it possesses. Multiple 300s and 800s in your future. Dan, that Rosenberg comes with a 300, 800 guarantee.
And it's the Rosenberg.
It's the Rosenberg. It's a guarantee. It comes with it.
So
now, I'm not giving you your money back if you don't,
remember
but
that.
It's a guarantee. I don't know what I'm guaranteeing, but
Dan, thanks for the support, bro. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Anyway, so back to the point here is, why is it that everybody wants to play golf? Because it's so challenging, but if you make bowling that challenging, nobody wants to do it.
I mean, I can answer that if you want me to answer that. People aren't going to like my answer. It's egos. It's egos.
I'm serving it up to you.
It's the fact that the only people really left in the bowling community are those that stuck around. Either they're relatively new, or they only do it as a social thing, or they stuck around because they're here for the resume of achievements.
Okay, so here's my question. Now, do you feel, because I feel this way in a little bit, that the new generation of bowlers coming up, the young bulls, right? And I'm talking like
so glad you're going to say this. It's funny because we didn't talk about this at all off the air.
No.
And what you are about, I already know what you're going to say, and what you are about to say is exactly what I wanted to talk about when I said I'm going to double down on my take tonight.
Right.
Okay.
I
so
feel
go
like
ahead. You say it. You say it.
I feel like
the
young bulls are to the point now where all they want to do is bowl on sport shots and in harder conditions. They don't want to bowl on house conditions. And I feel like junior gold is probably a big part of them growing up at junior gold, realizing if they want to compete at junior gold, they're probably going to have to challenge themselves and learn how to bowl on the tough stuff. And then college, you bowl for college, it's mostly on patterns. I don't think there's any house stuff unless it's the local.
Keep going.
Yeah, college, right? High school bowling, right? I feel like is on challenging stuff to a certain degree.
Not really. No, okay. I'd say no, probably.
Okay,
but I also feel like high school bowling is sort of like the introductory level of competitive bowling, right? Like you're going to have some kids that bowl high school that go on to bowl college, bowl junior gold, bowl Storm youth events, bowl the Billy Gaston team thing,
the PBA junior, right? PBA
bowl
youth,
all the
right?
stuff. But then you're also going to have kids on the high school team who only bowl for their high school team, right? So you're going to have a mix there. So like I'm okay with the easier conditions at the high school level, especially for junior varsity or kids just starting out. I think that it's kind of important to maybe bowl on that easier stuff so you can just concentrate on forming your game. But you are right. You are absolutely right in the sense that any competition past high school for junior bowling, okay, is bowled on something tough at this point. Storm youth events, the Billy Gaston team event, junior gold leagues, junior gold tournament, PBA junior, elite youth tour. I mean, do I need to keep going? Junior team USA, like this is all sport, okay? And let's be Rob, there's huge numbers. There's huge numbers of bowlers involved in these levels, okay? So the point I wanted to make in this conversation is that if we don't make this change, if we don't either force people to start bowling on stuff that's more a reflection of the real challenge of the game, okay, or if we don't create more of a distinction between the two, all right, and try and force people over to the more challenging side of the game once they've reached a certain level, then the house side of the game is going to die too. The recreational league side of the game is going to die too. And that's when I said I was going to double down on my take tonight. It's exactly what I meant. There's my second bet. Okay. Because not only am I saying that we should something to encourage, challenge themselves, but I'm also saying that if we don't do that, the recreational side of the sport, league side of the sport, is going to die too. And the reason I feel that way, Rob, is just because of what you just said. Because, Rob, where are all those bowlers that you just talked about? Where are all those bowlers going to go when they're done with their career, with their junior career? What, they're going to go join their local house league and beat up on Mamma Mia on house shots? They ain't going to do that. And hold on. Let me finish. What are their other options for outlets? The occasional tournament. I mean, even Greg Tack, who runs New Jersey Sport Bowling, they're one of the stronger organizations around. Nebo, one of the stronger organizations around. What do they have? 12 events a year? 10 events a year? I mean, that's not much at all. No. Neba's mostly on patterns.
They used to be on house.
Well, I think, Rob, at a certain point, like what year would you say? To me, I'm going to give you a sort of a recent year, but what year would you say the demarcation between sport bowling and recreational house shot bowling became abundantly clear? What year was it? Around what time period was it to you?
So I'm thinking I went to college in '99, and that wasn't a distinction yet because most of our.
Oh my God! It wasn't even close.
No,
Rob. It wasn't even close. We used to show up to tournaments where they did put out sport patterns, and we didn't even know what the hell they were.
Yeah, the first
lane graphs, lengths, volumes,
the first exposure.
It was just throw your ball down the lane and figure out what they're doing. They're tough. Okay.
The first exposure I got to sport patterns was at the High Roller, the late '90s at the High Roller. Nobody knew what those weren't considered sport patterns, though.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Bixby, what's up, Bix? What's up, Bix?
I know
what's good. Erica? So she says 2003. I got to be honest, Bix. I think you're way early on that. 2003. I graduated college in 2003.
When did USBC have their sport?
I'm talking about when did it become crystal clear? Like the majority of bowlers, competitive bowlers know, okay, there's this side and there's this side. I'm going to say it was like
06 when I graduated college, around there, that area.
Man, I might even go later than that, man. I might even say it was like 2010.
Nah, I think that's too late.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
I mean, I don't know,
I think
man.
it was way earlier than that. But I mean, the first we got of a sport condition really was the mistake they thrown at Stonehenge at the Teen Masters in '97.
No, we went to Junior Gold before that. Right, Junior Gold was 2 months before that, and we bowled.
They were putting out easy shit at Junior Gold, though.
No, they weren't. No way. You didn't go the first year. First year.
I saw Orlando though in '99. It was fucking.
Okay, well this was Reno in '98, and I'm telling you, I attest they were tough. Fagan missed the cut. They were tough, bro, and the cut was minus.
So I guess
minus. So I mean. But again, like when we went out to that tournament, we were some of the better junior bowlers in the country, and we had no idea what a sport shot even was. So we had no idea about a pattern. I'm talking about when that knowledge was universal, and I remember the first generation of bowlers I remember really being like cognizant of that stuff. I'll be honest with you, was like Matt Russo. Like when Matt Russo was in high school, I remember watching him bowl and like seeing the bowling balls he was using and how he was playing the lanes and being like, man, like this kid understands the game, like in a way outside of this normal, house shot stuff. And I realized then, like, oh yeah, these kids are bowling on this all the time. Like they know they know this inside and out, right? And that was probably, in like the 2000, maybe even 2012, 2013.
No, but we had that when I was bowling in college. We had tough shots that they put out for us.
No, we're on a different page. I'm not asking when we had tough shots. It's not what I'm asking. I'm asking when the demarcation between the two sides of the game became crystal clear, to where everybody knew it. People start asking, "Oh, what's this tournament? What are they bowling on? Sport or house?" When did that start happening? Like, that didn't start happening until later. We would go to tournaments and not even know what they were putting out. It could be whatever. There were no graphs. There were no volumes and lengths and all this other stuff that they have today. But nonetheless, I want to get back to my original point. What are the other outlets for these young kids that you mentioned, Rob?
The regional PBA regionals, which are, to me,
bingo, right? Short season, okay? $250 a pop to bowl, just to bowl. That ain't counting travel. That ain't counting hotel, etc. And you got to go bowl against the best competition in your whole area. Okay.
Bad. PBA regionals are
okay. All right. So what are the outlets for these young kids?
Nothing.
They're not there. So what do we need to do? Right? We need to create those outlets that they're going to want to bowl in. And we're not even trying to do that. Like, the bowling community in general isn't even really trying to do that.
Yeah, it's amazing how, like, other sports, like, you have like you have a path to the pros, right? Even golf, right? Where you have a path to the pros. There's a lot of different routes you can take, and I don't really know a whole lot about those paths in golf, but I know they're there. Bowling, and I mean, just from my own experiences, like, once you graduate college, essentially you need a full-time you needed a full-time sponsor, or parents that had a ton of money, or you had somebody who was willing to put up thousands of dollars, and then you'd end up having to give 50% of your winnings to in order to try to make it on tour. If you actually had to get a job and get a career, you couldn't really bowl for a living unless your career was in the bowling industry, right? Where you own the pro shop, or you own some businesses where you could have someone run the pro shop where you can go bowl. But the outlets for it, the regional PBA regional circuit is broken. Okay, just being in the West Coast. You guys in the East Coast have it easy with the regionals. Where you guys live, you could go and bowl probably any regional and not drive more than 6 to 8 hours, maybe max, right? You're on the West Coast, bro. If you live in SoCal, or if you live in even Vegas, they have regionals in Oregon, in Northern California, where you have to drive 12 to 15 hours. And I'm going to get it on Packy a little bit right now. Okay. I'm going to get it in a little bit on Packy's ass. Okay. Packy put a YouTube video on his YouTube channel talking about all of his expenses. Okay. About bowling the regional and his expenses. And he did this whole thing where he was bowling and he showed what he was paying. What a crock of shit video that was. He didn't put up about where he stayed. He stayed at someone's house for 3 days, which cost, nothing, right? So he didn't even have a hotel expense. I'm pretty sure he won the tournament, right? So he got about $2,500 for it. So he ends up showing after like he's plus like $1,500. Let me go to a tournament and doing expenses where I don't have someone to stay with. I have to drive 15 hours. I have to take off of work on a Friday, right, to drive, right, every weekend. Yo, let me tell you, bowling regionals full time, it's the most unprofitable thing you'll ever do. You have to literally finish in the top 3 to 5 every tournament, and you have to travel with 3 guys. You have to cram in those 2 or 4 rooms. Bro, the regional circuit is broken. It's a hard thing to do to bowl these things full time.
And you know what? They're very, again, it's like a short season. In order to really like get better, you really have to bowl on this stuff on a more regular basis, like in leagues. That's where most bowlers get a fair amount of their work in, right? And so my point today on Twitter, people can laugh at me or whatever. I mean, and I'm not even being 100% serious. What I'm saying somewhat tongue in cheek. I know that we don't want to go from where they're at now to a 1-to-1 U.S. Open pattern. I know that would be a little bit extreme, but listen, people can make fun of me if they want. They can troll me if they want. That's fine. I laugh at it. It's cool. But again, I'm going to say, I believe that what Rob said before is absolutely 100% correct, and one of two things is going to happen. Either we are going to adapt to what the new generation of bowlers wants, which is more demanding conditions, okay? And we're going to bring those people into the game regularly as every year league bowlers, okay? And some of them are going to go further than that. Or we're going to continue to only really highlight the recreational side of the game, let the sports side of the game kind of dwindle over here. Everything remains the same as it is. And we, as the bowling community, lose the opportunity to bring in all of these young people, all of this new blood who, like you said, Rob, have had these experiences in their own bowling careers where they don't really want to bowl on nonsense. They want to bowl on something challenging.
Mike, I think there's a big thing that we're missing here. String pins. Okay, because that is really going to get thrown into the mix here in the next 2 to 5 years. Believe me, I'll yell it till I'm blue in the face, Mike.
Oh, it's already happening.
It is, and it's going to be a very
it's the USBC. I put that out on Twitter a couple weeks ago too. We haven't, we didn't put that down on our list of things to talk about here. But if you want to, talk about it a little bit,
I'm just saying is like this.
But like the USBC, it's bullshit. Like they put another knife in the back of competitive bowling and bowling in general, because by them sanctioning it even as a separate division, what it allows bowling centers to say, all right, we're going to make the switch and we're just going to sanction in a separate division. And that's it. And bowlers don't really care about it. Bowlers are just going to say, oh, it's sanctioned. It's sanctioned.
It's a necessary evil. String pins is a necessary evil. If string pins are going to keep the bowling centers open in the long run, it's a necessary evil.
Okay, let me ask this. A lot of people that I talk to when I bring up string pins say they'll quit. They'll quit if it goes string pins.
Oh, please. Okay? It's the same people who say they're going to stop watching. I'm not watching. You ever see these WWE fans? Oh, I'm going to stop watching.
No, I don't. I'm not friends with any WWE fans.
Oh, I'm friends with a lot of them. What I'm just saying is these keyboard warriors, they go, oh, he didn't win the championship.
Stumpo's a WWE fan.
Yeah, ask Stumpo. No, ask Stumpo. You know how many people that say, oh, I'm going to stop watching because my guy didn't win. Oh, this is terrible. And then every week they watch it and then they get on the internet and they say, oh, I'm going to stop watching because this. It's like, dude, you keep watching and you keep talking about how you're going to stop watching, but you're going to keep watching. Just like bowling, trust me. They're going to put the string pins. Oh, I'm going to quit if string pins happen. And then guess what? They're going to keep bowling.
All right, but okay. So let's take, because people also say they're going to quit if they make them tough. So do you think they're lying on that or no?
That I don't know. That I don't know.
Okay, so let's assume for a second that they're telling the truth about quitting if it goes string pins.
Okay,
let's assume that. Here's my question: Why does no one care about that? Like the USBC will never support tougher lane conditions or sanctioning only tougher lane conditions, because Chad would claim that everybody would quit and we're here to provide the consumers with an experience, et cetera. Well, why aren't they trying to stop string pins then? If a lot of people out there are saying that they'll quit if things go string pins. Because
the bowling centers don't care. The bowling centers care about the recreation side of the game. They care about people showing up Saturday night to Global and to pay for $9 beers and $17 chicken tenders. Okay. And those people aren't going to quit because of string pins. They don't know the difference between string pins and free fall pins, so they're not quitting.
Well, no. What's going to happen is when they leave that flat 10 that should have been a 5-10, okay, they're now not going to blame it on the ball. They're going to blame it on the string pins, and that's going to become the new thing in bowling. Is these string pins got me? The string pins got me. Like that's going to become the new excuse. But again, like, I don't know. It's just interesting to me that there's always so much concern about, oh, these people are going to quit if we make them tough. But when you have people saying they're going to quit if we go string pins, USBC's just rolling out the red carpet saying, yeah, go ahead, make them all string pins.
People are quitting anyway right now. I mean, the membership has been declining.
Oh, I know. That's why these dopes that text me out of the blue and say, oh, this isn't going to do anything to grow the game. Sport bowling won't do anything. I said, I tell them, yo, are you a dope? Like, have you been looking at the numbers the last 30 years, or is your head just buried completely in the sand?
I gotta pull this comment up because Kevin, this couldn't be further from the truth. Chad is in no shape or form Vince McMahon of bowling. And there's one stat you could look for. Look at the viewership of people that watch and buy wrestling since Vince McMahon took over, and look at the membership on when Chad took over, and see how that is.
Chad's the Patrick Monahan of bowling. Okay.
Anyway, so
Chad is the Patrick Monahan. Is that the PGA guy's name? Is that his name? Monahan, right?
I'm not going to get on.
Am I wrong?
I'm not going to get on Chad, right?
I will.
I know you will. I don't know. Jeff Riggles loves to get on Chad, right? I mean, he's the number one.
I'm not going that far.
I'm not
going that far.
You know, and look,
that's war. That's war.
Chad has, you know, done this a lot to himself. You know, a lot of the criticism is rightfully so in the last, like, you know, God, probably years. But anyway, back to the point: is the future of bowling is in a very weird place, right? With the, you know, with the string pins, we know it's coming. The younger generation growing up on sport shots and wanting a sport, but will the houses, you know, convert over to capture those people? I'm not sure, but all I'm saying is, yeah, it's going to be in a weird spot here for a while.
Dougie, what's up in the chat? Making a comparison between sushi and string pins. I appreciate that. String pins are the people that say they're quit are the people that haven't ever bowled with them. Just like people that say, I don't eat sushi because it's raw, but there's cooked sushi too. Okay, fair enough. All right. We ready to move on?
We're ready to move on, but I could talk hours about the future.
Yeah, so could I. But listen, I just want to reiterate again how interesting it was to me that we didn't talk about this subject at all, and you brought up the exact point that I was going to make about these young folks and like how many people were going to miss getting them involved in the game for years and years to cater to the egomaniacs who threaten to quit. Okay. Is that really what we should be doing? We should be catering to the egomaniacs who are going to quit, who are going to threaten, who are going to say, I'm going to take my ball and go home. Then let them take their ball. Let's turn to the young people who are attending Junior Gold and all these other tournaments in mass. Okay. And let's try and bring them in the fold.
Okay, so a few more minutes here because I want to talk about the point I made on Twitter. Okay, what the USBC should really do is they should get rid of the house pattern if you want to bowl in a USBC league. Okay, bottom line.
I don't even agree with that. I wouldn't even go that far.
Let me make my point.
Go ahead. I thought you were done.
What should happen is they should have patterns, right, that the league can vote on, right, at the beginning of the year. The USBC maybe gives them a list of 7 to 10 patterns, and they rate the difficulty of the patterns between a 1 to 10, right? And the league, you know, maybe has 1 week where they could test the patterns out, all the patterns, and then the next week maybe they vote, right, on what patterns they want to use. Maybe they could use 3 patterns for 3 different quarters of the league, whatever it is, right? Then what should happen is if the bowling center wants to run house leagues, the house themselves should sanction those leagues. Meaning, if someone bowls a 300, the house should buy them a watch or a ring for their 300, right? Whatever it is. But in order for you to bowl a USBC sanction league where you pay for your sanction fees, it should be on some kind of pattern. And I'm not talking about putting out a US Open pattern, right? Maybe ease them into it, right? Ease the patterns into it. Maybe, you know, you don't make it a super challenging pattern, but you make it a pattern that you can't just throw it to like the one board and you strike, right? Like it's got to be, you know, something that will bring the averages down and gives people a taste of the patterns, but don't make it too difficult from the beginning, right? And I feel like would be a disaster if they went from like being a house pattern to like a US Open pattern, like overnight.
Right.
People won't be able to handle that transition. So that's my solution right now. Why they'll never do it is because the USBC is afraid of losing membership. And what happens when they lose membership? They lose money, right? And it all comes down to the membership numbers, right?
But at the same time, if you're catering to those people to keep them as members, but you're losing out on the opportunity to get all these newer, younger, more marketable, more sellable people coming in, then I don't know. I mean, to me, that seems
no,
backwards.
See, John, they didn't attempt this because they didn't get rid of the house conditions. As long as the house shots are there,
right?
And the USBC
People are going to choose the house shots.
People are going to choose the house shots,
Yeah,
and that's look, it's the way it is. What they need to do is they need to say no house shots. If you want to be sanctioned by the USBC, here are the patterns that you need to lay out in order to be sanctioned. Now, how they govern that and test that, look, I don't work for the USBC. All I'm saying is that there's got to be eventually something that the USBC does that essentially caters to the new generation coming in, which I feel like wants to be challenged and they want to bowl on the more challenging stuff.
I mean, listen, we talk about this all the time. I constantly think about this. I mean, I'm at a point where I feel like we should be running bowling sometimes is what I think in my head because I think about this nonsense so much. But so here's what I would do. Here's what I would like to see done. If you put me in charge tomorrow, here's what I would do. I would create different tiers. I would create 3 different tiers. There would be the recreational tier, there would be the challenge tier, and there would be the sport tier. Okay, there would be 3 different tiers of sanctioning. The sport tier of sanctioning would be the most expensive tier of sanctioning. So if you want to sanction at the sport level, it's going to cost you a decent amount of money out of your pocket, way more than it costs right now to sanction. But with that fee, you're going to get a lot for your fee. You're going to get a subscription to Bowl TV. You're going to get discounts on bowling balls from manufacturers. You're going to get other things, okay, because we're the USBC and we can make things happen like that. So your sports sanctioning is going to be the highest level and is going to be the most expensive. Your challenge sanctioning is going to be right in the middle, okay? It's not going to be as expensive as the sport, but not as cheap as the recreational. And the recreational is your cheapest sanctioning, and you pretty much keep it as it is now. And for the recreational sanctioning, you really don't get that much. You really don't get that much. You shoot a 300, you get a little keychain or something, okay? Now, you shoot 300 at the sport level, you get a legit ring, okay? You get a nice ring. We redesign the ring. We make it legit. And here's why, because there ain't going to be too many of them. You ain't giving out thousands of rings a year, and there's no way. Okay, there's likely only to be a handful of them. Okay, and those people are already paying a really high sanctioning fee, so you'll be able to afford to cover those costs. All right, and to me, what that would do is you'd create these tiers. You could have the governing body kind of keep an eye on everyone, okay, and suggest to people when it's time for them to move up. Right, you start at the recreational level, or you can be evaluated before you come into adult leagues. If you're a junior gold bowler, they look at your junior gold record. Okay, maybe you're approved to start at the challenge level or the sport level. Okay, but most people come in, they start at the recreational level. After they accomplish a certain thing, they average 210, they shoot 300, they shoot 800. There's like a checklist, almost like a checklist of here's the things you have to do. Now you get invited to the challenge level. Would you like to come and join this challenge level? Here's all the leagues in your area that bowl at the challenge level. Would you like to join this level? Then once you're at the challenge level, you accomplish things there, check boxes.
I know.
You get invited to the sport level.
The problem is you're barely getting even 20 guys at your sport league week.
I know. But you got to start somewhere.
You got to force everybody to bowl in the sport. You have to literally
but don't you think that see, to me,
people aren't going to bowl sport. As long as
the one guy shooting 300, the one guy shooting 300 and getting his keychain, okay, and then another guy shoots 300 in the sport level and comes in with his ring. That guy who got the keychain is going to want that ring, and that's why he's going to go up and try and bowl at that level. And he might never get the ring. He might never get the ring, but they're going to continue to chase it because, and I'm going to wrap this up by going back to your Jerry Seinfeld about golf. The interesting thing to me in this argument about house conditions, and this came up on Twitter today too, because predictably somebody always says this, and I think today it was Jeff Rickles of all people, who I kind of surprised me that he would say this, but he was like, "Oh yeah, because the average Joe recreational bowler, yeah, they want to go out and struggle while they have their recreational fun." Here's what I don't get: why has the bowling community at large come to associate having fun with throwing 30 strikes a set? Okay.
That's fun. Throwing 30 strikes.
No, see, that's where yous are all wrong. That's why golf is the way it is. Because what's fun is the several instances you have in a day in a golf course, in a round of golf, where you hit that really good shot and you ace it. And it's like, man, oh, look at that shot. Oh, my God, what a shot. Oh, if I could just hit it like that every time, I'd be on tour, okay? Now, chances are you could work your whole life. You ain't going to be able to hit it like that all the time. But there's that enjoyment of being able to do it in those instances where you did it, okay? And bowling is the same way. I see it all the time. Guys struggle. They get up, they throw 3 good shots in a row, and they triple, and they feel like they just crushed the world, right? And that's, to me, that's what we don't have. But, all right, let's move on.
Let's move on.
We have a lot of PWBA.
A lot of PWBA action.
A lot of PWBA action that we've missed over the last couple weeks, from not being on and then from you not being here last week. We know Nico. Where's Nico? Nico's our guy for the PWBA action. We may even bring up his rundowns here and do those and share those as we go throughout. But obviously, Rob, we don't have time to get into a breakdown of every single match and every single step ladder. So why don't we summarize the action for the people here?
4 winners the last 4 PWBA tournaments. Stephanie Zavala, the Bowl TV Open. Verity Crawley.
Hold on, let's stop for a second. Stephanie Zavala was against Shannon Pulowski.
Yes.
Okay. Honestly, might have been one of the worst games I ever seen Shannon Pulowski bowl. That I can remember. I mean,
right.
You never see her look lost. And in that match,
she struggles in the finals, though. I kind of feel like. Yeah, I don't know what her record is. I don't know what her record is in the step ladder, but I feel like she struggles more than she wins on the step ladder. I have no data supporting that argument. That's just what I kind of feel like. Like, you don't see her in the winner's circle as much as she should be.
I mean, I feel like she's the lefty goat.
She did start out with the wrong ball. Nico has it down. She did start out using, I believe, some kind of like high performance. I don't know, what are the new Ebonite balls, I think. And then
then at one point she went to a mindset. Right, she went to a Brunswick mindset for a few shots.
The purple,
and then she went to the purple.
God, how did the purple ball? You could just. It's crazy how good.
See, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I rarely think of her as struggling to find it or struggling to hit the pocket. I just and Zavala, man, she amazes me with the way she bowls. Like, the angles that she plays on the lanes are just they're disgusting, bro. Like, how is she repeating that? How is she repeating having the ball cross so many boards and getting it so far right with so much side on it that the ball is like it's going this way in the back of the lane? Like, it's diving. Okay,
using an afterburner, I believe, which is also a really.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Every time I watch that girl bowl,
she reminds me of
magic tricks, bro.
Man, I used to watch Bri Kretzer bowl at the high roller.
No.
Used to start like 25, and he used to swing it out to like the gutter, and used to be like, how the hell is he even doing this? But his hand would be on top of the ball, like if you actually slowed mo. It was amazing to watch, but I don't know. I feel
like that's an insult to Stephanie Zavala, comparing her to Kretzer, to be honest with you.
Kretzer was the best amateur, one of the best amateur bowlers.
I understand that.
All time.
I understand that, but I think that his game was like it was a
Sorry,
hodgepodge.
Nico. I apologize, Nico, for getting the ball wrong. It was a burner, not an afterburner. I will apologize for making that.
We ain't on
mistake.
staff around here, son. We ain't on
Yeah, I
staff.
don't
We
know.
don't
It
do
was some
ball
kind
review.
of burner. Fuck it. I don't
Sorry.
care. Some kind of burner. Anyway.
So it's just Kretzer. Like, to me, he could do it all. He would take 8 steps. He would take 6 steps. He would throw it straight with no hand. He would hook the whole lane. He would play the track. He would throw it hard. He would throw it soft. To me, Zavala, she's always doing something similar. She's always big angle, a lot of side rotation.
Right, but that's why I'm comparing it to
far right
Kretzer.
break point.
People in the chat,
diving in the
it has
back of the lane.
nothing to do with 11 steps or she.
Yes, it does.
No, I'm talking
You're
about the
making
angles.
points.
I'm talking about the angles that they play on the lane.
Yeah,
It was
I
it's
don't know.
very similar to me. Anyway, okay, enough about Stephanie Zavala.
To me, she's Pete Weberish.
Yeah, Pete Weberish was Kretzer-like too in a weird way.
She's
They
like
both
Pete
love the
Weberish.
slow
Like,
hook. They both
I'm
love the
just
slow
gonna-
hook.
I'm going to make the ball dive in the back part of the lane.
Just,
Sick.
just slow it down.
All right, so she wins. Stays hot. Following up.
She got lucky though. She got lucky in a couple of those matches to win. She really did. She every time it seemed like she split.
It takes
other
that
person
if you're going to
split,
make a
they
run.
have to. I'm not saying she was lucky to win. I'm just saying she got lucky in a few of those matches. Like in really opportune times, her opponent was never able to like put her away. They always gave her back the match.
Well, I mean, bowling her, I think, is probably a mental hill for some of these less experienced players to get over. Right, because she was one of the. Did she win Player of the Year last year?
It was
or Rookie of the Year.
It wasn't last year. Brianna Cote won last year.
Okay. She's Rookie of the Year, but she won a couple times though, didn't she? I know she had a really good season.
She did. Nico probably knows in the chat when Zavala, but I believe Zavala.
All right, so next event.
I believe it was Verity Crawley won. She beat
Bridget Norix.
Birgit, is that how you say it, or is it Bridget?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Anyway, anybody's game I love the most on the PWBA tour, other than Kelly Kulik's game, I love Verity Crawley's game. I can watch Verity Crawley throw the ball all day. She's so smooth, and you can tell she's worked so hard. In college, I believe she went to Weber. I believe, she worked so hard, and she's so smooth, and she's just great. Like, I love watching her bowl. It was good to see her win. She hasn't won, I believe, since 2021. So it's been a few years for her, and she just had a great look, and she just kind of made the right moves and ended up bowling 250 in the finals.
Well, they were playing so deep in that. I mean, for the women's side of the game, I mean, not comparatively to the men, they weren't that deep, but they were playing so deep in that match that it was pretty clear that Verity had a distinct advantage. Advantage just because of the rev rate,
100%.
and like they were playing.
To win.
Yeah, they were kind of playing a shot that reminded me a lot of back in the day, Rob.
Oh, that's what I was thinking too. I said to myself, man, I'd probably really like this shot.
I'd whack this shit, right? Fall back, grab it, and get your arm swing going across, and you're going to be good. And the ball was not hooking a lot down lane, And
look at this, crushing on Verity. I mean, look, like I might be blushing a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Verity's cute.
I think she's in a relationship. I don't know. I saw something on social media.
She throws it really good though.
The line that they were playing in that, particularly in that title match, was just it was very reminiscent to me of like back in the day. And when I saw the way that Norix was going to play them, I was like, oh, this is
okay. I gotta get something off my chest. I gotta get something off my chest. Birgit or Bridget or I'm not a fan of her style. I'm not. She's got this little like hitch at the end of her swing that I'm not a huge fan of, and it kind of annoys me when I watch her bowl. you watch Verity bowl and then you watch her bowl, and it's like Verity is so much smoother and so much just everything about Verity's game is so much better than Bergie's. But I hope I'm saying it right. But like Bergie, she scores. I mean, she's bowling great at the U.S. Open right now. So like you can't like question.
Well, because I think because a lot of the times, like on that side of the game, that you can shut the angles down and still have a lot of success. And Verity can not only shut the angles down, but can open them up as well. Zavala can open them up. But there are a lot of players out there that kind of always keep the angles closed. I mean, look at Liz Johnson. Liz Johnson has become the GOAT off of that. So on that side of the game, it definitely becomes easier to sort of keep those angles closed, play that kind of game.
Right.
Sure. But I love the way that they were playing them there. All right, next event.
So Verity is rolling, right? She's got momentum. She ends up in the
Makes
final
the title match of the next tournament, right?
Next tournament ends up bowling Jordan Richard, who
the beast.
Oh, she's a power. She's like this generation's Tish Johnson. You know what I mean? Like she's power personified, bro. She gets to the left. She uses that RSTX2. She loves that purple RSTX2. And she just moves left and just runs him over. It's just like, she's just an interesting
who's the best power player? I mean, Tommy Jones, I would probably say. No.
Oh, you mean like what would you compare Jordan Richard to as a guy? Yeah. Like
who's the best power player? Because there's different power players in every generation, right? And then you get to the most recent generation, and obviously it's Belmo, okay, or it's a two-hander of some kind, right?
Right.
Well, maybe it's EJ. Maybe it's EJ. Is it? I mean,
the first thing I thought of, if you wanted to compare like a male version of like kind of the same one-handed traditional Jordan, I don't think there's anybody that is like Jordan Richards. So I would say EJ Tackett to me would be like the comparison in a weird way, even though EJ does have a higher rev rate and does hook it more. But for a lady, Jordan Richard could be the EJ Tackett of the women tour in a weird way, right?
It's a fair point. I was going to say Tommy Jones just because
AJ Johnson's a good comparison too.
He hasn't won enough. He hasn't won enough. No, I'm talking about somebody, power, but they're winning.
They're winning. Yeah,
power, but they're winning, and that's what I'm saying. Like Tommy Jones, like she strikes me as that type of talent. EJ Tackett, she strikes me as that type of talent. This was her second win.
It's Biergit.
Okay.
Biergit. Okay.
This was her second win.
Yeah, that was her second win. Well, then she wins again the next week. She beats
3 wins.
Johnson.
I mean, she's getting out to a Player of the Year type lead like Tackett did. That's for sure.
Yeah, she's probably already won Player of the Year, I would imagine. Unless
they do it off a point system though, don't they?
I don't even know. I can't. Which is.
I mean, I know there's been some questionable results in that point system before. I don't remember exactly what those questionable results were, but I know there's some questionable results.
Theo, what up, man? Theo's Cactus tournament's coming up to 10K. If anybody's interested in the Phoenix area, I probably will not be bowling. I'm considering I haven't thrown a ball in like 2 months since my last night of league. But
it's what league does to you. It's what house leagues do to you.
Bolero Mesa. Anyway, all right. Enough of the women bowling. The U.S. Open's going on right now.
Women's U.S. Open, senior U.S. Open is coming up. You senior USBC Masters, John Janowitz, winner, first over 50 tournament. The guy bowls, he wins. Dude's sick.
What's funny about John Janowitz is John Janowitz never went full time on tour. I don't think he even bowled on the national tour went before 50. So I don't think a lot of people who aren't really in the know it in the bowling industry or bowling world know about John Janowitz, right? But if you grew up in the bowling industry and you know who John Janowitz is, right? John Janowitz is a very, very good bowler, a very smart bowler. And interesting to see how he's going to do bowling the 50. And I think he's going to have a lot of success So it'll be interesting to see how much more he wins. Nico, answering the question next Tuesday, U.S. Open on CBS Sports, PWBA. All right, I'm going to vent a little bit on that. Why can't they have that on a weekend? The PWBA major. Why do I have to rush home at 3:30 p.m. to try to watch it? I'm hoping it's not on at 4 o'clock again, my time, because like it's a tough day. Why couldn't they have it on a Sunday or a Saturday so people could actually watch it on the weekend? I just don't understand that.
Fair
Anyway,
point.
Mike, I think you got a good stream. You only cut out once
Yeah,
or
I don't
twice
know.
for me.
Scott's saying bad stream tonight, cutting in
Is
and out
anybody
way
else-
too often. I don't know.
Does anybody
Anybody
else
have
have
that same problem, or is
We're a
it
little bit
perhaps
struggling.
on Scott's end?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, all right, Mike. So check out PWBA next Tuesday. Bull TV coverage of the U.S. Open. They also was that you said Super Senior. Was that Senior?
No, it was
Masters?
the senior USBC senior.
Masters, the one.
Yeah,
John
Masters that he won, and then the senior U.S. Open is coming up.
Senior U.S. Open is coming up. All right,
Let's do it.
You ready to go? Worst of the week.
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
I'm gonna do mine short and sweet here.
Yeah, mine's gonna be a long one.
I know. Yeah, mine is from the Motive Bowling Facebook page.
Okay.
Okay. Treasure trove of worst of the week material. All right, and the post is by Vinny Romano. Vinny Romano, congratulations. You've won worst of the week here at Sweep the Rack. Here's the post. I have been bowling on summer leagues, winter leagues, is my question. Is being with the lane condition and the weather. I was wondering if I should use my Venom Shock bowling ball for those playing conditions during summer league or winter league, or should I switch to different bowling balls? I don't know. I was very confused by that. Is he suggesting that we should be choosing bowling balls based off of the weather outside? I have been doing this shit wrong this whole time, son. If that's the case, I have been doing this wrong the whole time. I should have been like Venom Shock. IQ Tour.
That actually probably a funny transition into my worst of the week, because I might have a bowling ball or two that could.
Oh, Rob's coming at big dogs tonight. Be careful.
My worst of the week is going to Columbia 300. Okay.
Ooh,
bowling ball
he's
company.
Coming at the big dogs. He's coming at the ball company.
What in your right mind are you thinking with the names of the bowling balls that you're coming up with? Okay.
Why? What name is coming out that set you off, son? Tell me why you're mad.
The Atlas. Okay. It will guide your high scores. Okay. Really? Who in the world is thinking of these names of these bowling balls, Mike? You have one company, Columbia, that's coming up with the Atlas. It will guide you to your scores. The Atlas.
There's some people who listen to this podcast that don't even know what that word means, I'll bet.
The Atlas.
They never even seen it. They
Right.
never even seen that word.
Okay.
If you're unfamiliar, an atlas is a map. It's a book of maps.
It's the worst name you've ever heard, okay?
Who uses an atlas anymore? Who reads maps? I haven't read a map since I was going to JBT's. My dad used to make me read maps to see where we were
Rewind. Remember, I gave DV8 a bunch of shit about marketing the two-handed players. Okay, they get worst of the week too. DV8 for their two-handed marketing, and I went at them too. Anyway, so Mike, I made a couple of calls right to some people, found out some of the names of the bowling balls that are going to be coming out in the next 6 months to a year. I have the DL, Mike, and I'm going to share it with people, okay? What's coming out after the Atlas, okay? The Compass, Mike, will direct you to the pocket. So if anybody wants to drill a compass, That's the next ball that's coming out after the Atlas.
The
Okay.
Pearl version's going to be
The Waze.
Waze.
After the compass is going to be the map, Mike. When you're lost, when you're lost on the lanes, you could switch to the map, and it will help you get you to your scores. Okay. After that, Mike, is the Pearl, the drug, Mike. When you feel lousy about your game, you can use the drugs to make you feel better. Okay, the drug, Mike, coming out.
How about the Sherpa? The Sherpa will guide you on your way. If you are lost, use the Sherpa.
The Sherpa, the therapist. Okay, Mike. I'm gonna go ahead to the pro shop and I'm be like, yo, give me the Pearl version of the therapist and the solid. Because when you're feeling depressed about your average, just go and use your therapist, Mike. It'll make you feel better. Okay. Guess what, Mike? They're also going to be changing their marketing, the bowling companies, okay? They're coming out with 2 new ball release. The Marathon and the Sprint, okay? The Marathon bowling ball, Mike, is going to be strictly for 8 game to 10 game marathons. All you need to use is 1 ball, the Marathon. You could use it for the...
It says it right on it.
Says it right on it.
Marathon.
The Sprint... You're bowling a 2-game sweeper. All you need is the Sprint, Mike. Next, and last but not least, the Airborne, Mike. If you have to loft the gutter and loft it to the arrows, this ball comes aerodynamic. Where actually, when the ball's flying through the air, it's actually going to give you another foot on your vertical, and it's going to land by the arrows and takes the heads out of play. So look for those bowling balls, Mike. Don't forget about the Southpaw bowling ball, strictly marketed for lefties. Too. Forgot about the Southpaw. Once you use the Southpaw, once you throw the ball right of 10 as a lefty, the ball explodes. That's the end of it. You can't use it anymore. It's done.
How about the Lighthouse? When you're lost, look for the Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse.
That could be the tagline. When you're
Yeah.
lost, when you're in a dark sea of bowling confusion, look for the Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse.
Turn to the Lighthouse. Maybe it could have like some sparkles in it where it goes down the lane. It looks like it's actually flashing. That would be dope.
The Gilligan. When you're lost, you can drill up the Gilligan. People in the chat, put some names of balls that you would love to see. But this is where we're getting to, Mike. The Atlas. It will guide you to your scores. The Deviate, 2-handed only. You know what I mean? What about the sandwich, Mike? Maybe you drill the sandwich if you're hungry to win. You could drill a sandwich.
If you're hungry to win, get the sandwich.
Get the sandwich.
Get the sandwich out of your bag.
Good Lord. I swear to God. That's my worst of the week, Mike. Going to the Columbia for the Atlas.
Bowling is quite corny.
Oh. You're better off with the track. Track should bring back their numbers. They should just start at 1. Just fucking, you'll never run out, right? Like, hey, Mike, about to go drill the 1,036. At this point, what does it really matter? Like, Mike, no, that 1,037's coming out. Longer, stronger.
Their number system was too confusing with the 730A.
Oh, the 505.
505B.
Some of those are really good balls.
Terrible.
Man, I swear to God, maybe, and then you come out with the porn collection, the prostitute. Go drill a prostitute.
All right. We're going off the rails now. We're going off the rails. Wrap it up.
That new Pearl prostitute is rolling great. I've drilled 3 of them already.
All right, Rob, final thoughts. Go ahead.
Oh, on a more serious note, I wanted to, because I obviously wasn't here last week. I heard the sad news of somebody that I grew up with passing away in the bowling world, ex-PBA titleist Dennis Jakes. And I was really sad to hear that news. Dennis Jakes, East Coast guy, actually
New Jersey guy.
New Jersey guy, was actually a manager at Gil Hodges Lanes growing up, and he was there for a little bit. I don't really know how long he was there, but I remember when he first came in as a manager, it was very exciting as like a 14 or 15-year-old who was so like intrigued with bowling. And the pros you saw on TV, they were like celebrities, right? When you saw a pro, and I remember when we heard Dennis Jakes was going to be the manager of the bowling center, like you were so excited, like you actually get to see a guy who won a PBA title, was on TV a bunch, actually at your bowling center every day. And was a great guy, Mike. Treated me, my family, my brothers, everybody around that bowling center, treated them all with respect, and was a very hard job to do. I wish I could have told him not to take the manager job at Gil Hodges Lanes because he didn't really probably understand what he was getting himself into with the shit show of a train wreck that goes on in that bowling center when we were kids. But yeah, great guy. My thoughts and prayers, condolences out to him, to his family. I mean, and yeah, sad to hear it to Dennis Jakes.
Kevin Hebert saying $20 to get in to watch at the Women's U.S. Open for one day.
Yeah, I saw that he messaged us earlier about that.
Oof.
And what did they take? 31 out of 39 for the PTQ, I heard. To get in there. So, that was, I don't know, $20. People aren't even showing up to Carolier for $5 admissions.
I know. Oh. I was just thinking, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like, Carolier for the player is only $5 to get in, and the USBC is charged $20.
David, I'm glad you brought this up too. I didn't want to not bring up Andy DeFlorio from Upper New York. I knew Andy DeFlorio. He used to bowl a lot of the high rollers. I used to see him always come into the bowling center, and he was always a positive, always a great dude. Always would come over, say hello. So yeah, my thoughts and condolences to Andy's family too as well. Andy was also very, very. He was a sweet guy and he loved bowling. So the bowling community is really small. So when you hear someone, a couple of guys passed away that you knew back in the days growing up, it's always sad to hear. So yeah, my thoughts and condolences to Andy as well, to his family.
No doubt. Bowling community losing some good people.
Yeah.
My final thought this week is just, looking forward to the Women's U.S. Open show. Tough conditions, best bowlers, a lot of storylines. I saw Jordan Richards' name near the top of the leaderboard at some point today when I looked. So, yeah, looking forward to the competition. I'll be checking that out.
Let me ask you, Mike, do you feel like watching the PWBA the last, 3 months, that it's very similar to the PBA, where you're probably going to see the same 10 to 12 names on the show? And you I could probably peg 3 to 5 that'll be on the show.
Yeah, but, and this is a big but, one thing I noticed while watching the PWBA is that they're not always doing the same thing. They're not always playing them the same way. They're not always breaking down in the same fashion. People are playing different parts of the lane for longer amounts of time.
Would you say the PWBA? Now, here's a hot question, a hot take. Would you think the PWBA players are more versatile than the PBA players are? Because they have to be. They have to play the patterns the way the patterns are supposed to be played.
I'm going to say no, because while there are some different things that the women can do that the guys are probably not that accustomed to, there's other things that the guys have to do that I don't think the ladies ever have to do or could do. For instance, some of the things we've seen with loft or just, ridiculous angles in the front part of the lane where you're sliding left gutter, hitting the 7th arrow, but getting the ball out to 8 as a break point, something of that nature. So, I would have to say no in that, but it's just interesting to me. I guess the explanation would be that you don't have as much breakdown on the lanes because of the rev rate and just the way that they play them. They probably start a little bit straighter in the front part of the lane than the guys do. But it's just interesting to me that you can get a bunch of really high quality bowlers in that environment, and they're not always breaking down the same way. They're not always playing the same angles, it seems. Whereas when I watch the PBA, 8 times out of 10, it seems that they are playing them very similarly.
Well, I'm going to agree with Theo here. 100% the women are a lot more technical. The guys just overpower whatever is out there, while the women actually have to play the pattern that's out there. That's what I'm trying to say is like EJ Tackett, I'm using him as an example, is going to play them very similar. And with the urethane these days, he could you don't really have to play with the patterns out there for a few games until they break down, and then he could just move left and overpower them, right? The women, they have to play what's out there because they can't overpower them. A lot of them aren't.
They're not going to break them down as quickly.
Right, and they're not using urethane. They're not using urethane, which reason why I probably like watching the PWBA.
It's another interesting. I'd like an explanation on that too. Is it just lack of rev rate?
It is 100%. Of course, that's what it is.
This is a great comment. It is. Kevin says it's a much more relatable game, and it is. Yeah, I agree. I love watching the PWBA because I see things that I do. I see ways that I play the lanes or play a pattern, or right. Whereas you when I watch the PBA, I rarely see that. I'm rarely doing the same things that the PBA bowlers are doing or playing them the same ways that the PBA players are playing them.
I do think an interesting storyline, and I know Robert Hamilton brought it up in the chat, is Bella made it to the main field. Who we all know is one of the young bulls, right? The young bulls for the women, and she's a two-handed player. I haven't seen, watching a lot of the stream, I haven't seen any two-handers, I don't think. So I think she's now in a two-handed player in a one-handed world, right? So will she have the same kind of success that Belmo had when he first came in as a two-handed player bowling against majority one-handed players? And I kind of feel like that would be an interesting storyline if Bella made a way to make it to the top, last couple cuts, right? So to me, that would be interesting to watch, to see how that plays out. So, good luck to Bella. I know she tunes in every once in a while to watch the show. I'm kind of rooting for her a little bit. So I would love to see her make a run.
No doubt. All right, Rob, we're going to wrap it up. Everybody, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it as always.
Buy a shirt.
Hit the Etsy store. Hit us up on social media. Email us, sweeptherack@gmail.com. Reach out to us. Let us know what's good. I'll be back with a league review next week. We'll have some more PWBA action. Okay, so, see everybody next Thursday. Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Enjoy it. Hook your pops up if you're around.
Happy Father's Day to the people who don't know they might be fathers.
No doubt. And we will see everybody next Thursday.
Later.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.